Now let's look into Linux environment variables. So Linux environment variables help define your Linux shell experience. Many programs and scripts use environment variables to obtain system information and store temporary data and configuration informations. Environment variables are set in a lot of places on the Linux system, and you should know where these places are. So this slide walks you through the world of Linux environment variables, showing where they are and how to use them and even how to create your own. So let's begin with exploring environment variable. So the bash shell uses a feature called environment variables to store information about uh, about the shell session and the working environment. So this feature also allows you to store data in memory that can be easily accessed by any program or script running from the shell. It's a handy way to store needed persistent data. Now there are two environment variable types in the bash shell. One is global variables and second one is local variables. So now initially let's look at the global environment variable first. So global environment variables are visible from the shell session and from any spawned child subshells. Local variables are available only in the shell that creates them. So this makes global environment variables useful in applications that create child subshells which require a parent shell information. So the Linux system sets several global environment variables when you start your bash session. For more details, uh, for example, the system environment variables almost always use all capital letters to differentiate them from normal user environment variables. That's how you differentiate a environment variable, a global environment variable, to a user variable. So to view a global environment variables, use the env or the printEnv command. Okay, just a minute. Yep. Let's get into the put it on right side. Clear the screen. Print env. Here it is. Here it is. There are a huge number of environment variables. User Ubuntu. User Ubuntu. And let's give echo. Sorry. Echo dollar user. What is that? Ubuntu. Then print. Let me clear the screen first. Print env home. It's home Ubuntu. Or another way of printing the same is through home. Then ls dollar home. Nothing. So, and we'll check print env. There are a lot of term, user Ubuntu and path. let's take the path as a variable. So echo path. Let me clear this first. So echo path. Here it is. This is how environment variables helpful. So what I will do is I'll create a child subshell, and then I will give you echo path. Here it is. Here it is. That's why we call it as we call them as a global environment variables. Global environment variables. So you can also use the echo command to display variables value that we have done it apparently. So using the dollar sign along with the variable name does more than just display its current definition when used with the echo command. So the dollar sign before a variable name allows the variable to be passed as a command parameter. So that's all about global environment variables. So now let us look into the local environment variables. Local environment variables, as their name implies, can be seen only in the local process in which they are defined. So even though they are local, they are just as important as global environment variable. In fact, the Linux system also defines standard local environment variables for you by default. However, you can also define your own local variables. So these, as you would assume, are called user defined local variables. What is that? User defined local variables. So here we have the set command. uh, what the set command does is the set command displays all the defined variables, all variables which are defined for a specific process. That's what the set command does, so including both local and global environment variables and their user defined variables. Okay, so set, you see that a complete information about the set command that we got it here. So here all global environment variables are displayed using the env or printenv commands appear in the set commands output. You just want to check it one more time. I shown it. So here it is. Here you can clearly see, and in the path, everything. So the additional environment variable are the local environment and user defined variables that also can be seen here. So now the subtle differences between the commands env, printenv and set is the set command displays both global and local environment variables and user defined variables also. It also sorts the display alphabetically. The next thing is the env and printenv are different from set in that they do not sort the variables nor do they include local environment or local user defined variables. So used in this context, env and printenv produce duplicate listings. However, the env command has additional functionality that printenv does not have, making it the slightly more powerful command for us. So now let's look into setting user defined variables. So you can set your own variables directly from the bash shell. This section or this slide shows you how to create your own variables and ref- and